All right, we are now recording. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Tim Wong of Pier28 Cigars. Tim, thank you so much for joining us today. We really
How's it going today, guys? I appreciate you having me.
No problem. It's good to see you.
Yeah.
Well, tell us about Pier28. Well, let's learn about you first. Tim,
Okay.
How did you get into cigars?
So I've been in the cigar business. This is my 16th year in the cigar business. My background is marketing and communications. I actually was a .com kid. So I worked in Silicon Valley from 1996 to about 2002, 2003. And I picked up cigars then. I mean, back then it was the wild, wild west. You could scratch out on a cocktail napkin, I want to build a website, I'm going to sell advertising, and a venture capitalist would give you $3 million, right? So working with startups, we went to a lot of parties, and that's why I picked up kind of smoking cigars, because I don't drink a whole lot. I needed a vice. So that was what I picked it up. And I started, before there was like Zoom meetings and social media, we had online bulletin boards. That's how cigar smokers communicated. So through those bulletin boards, I met Frank Santos, who's a gentleman I still work with at AJ Fernandez, because I'm a sales rep and I broker several brands besides my own. But he was working with Tarano cigars back then. And he said, let's trade some stuff. I'll trade cigars for marketing ideas. So that's how we started communicating. He invited me out to a big smoke. A few years later, I met the family. I had a really nice, candid conversation with Charlie Tarano and Carlos Tarano. At the end of the conversation, they were like, you know more about cigars than our actual sales reps. You want a job? And I was like, you know what? This might be fun. So 16 years later, here I am. They gave me the opportunity to get in the business and then develop my own cigar line. And I always thank those guys. I owe my debt of gratitude for getting me into the cigar business.
That's a fantastic story, man. I'm
very, very lucky.
I like to hear how people are able to monetize a passion.
I would love to tell you that, I had 100 years in the family, links in the tobacco business, and I got lucky. I met the right guys, and they offered me an opportunity, and I went for it.
Yeah. And you know what? Often, man, it's where you are and who you know that propels you where you want to be. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So tell me about, now that we know how you got into the business, right? Mm-hmm. Tell me about your experiences as a rep.
Yeah.
What's that like?
You have to be, to be a road warrior, you have to appreciate the lifestyle, obviously. The best way I can put it is, when you're never in the right place. And what I mean by that is when you're on the road, all you want to do is get home. And you're home for a few days, all you want to do, you get itchy, you want to get back on the road, right? So, you want to enjoy living out of a suitcase a little bit, and you got to be social all the time. You're going, because we're old school. We visit cigar stores. That's 80% of the job is just showing up and talking and smoking cigars, which sounds horrible, but you're doing it 5 or 6 times a day. It gets repetitive a little bit, but you got to enjoy that. Everywhere you go, you're having a conversation. It could be sports in one place, it could be family, it could be politics. So you got to be ready for anything, and be able to represent your product as well. And because you have all kinds of retailers, right? You have guys who are partners and love cigars and will try anything. You have those hard-nosed old school guys who want nothing but the big box brands. So you got to be prepared for dealing with any kind of retailer and just adapt to it. And that's when the selling comes in, obviously. But the good thing is, most of the time it's, here, smoke this. Do you like it? Do you want some? And that most guys, because if you're a cigar shop owner, you want to know what's out there. You want to try everything. So that you sample the cigar with the rep, and if you like it, you buy some. And if you like the rep, you support them, and same thing like that. So I've been lucky enough that I've built fantastic relationships. My territory is on the West Coast, so I know every cigar store basically, between California, Idaho, right? I've done Arizona, Nevada, Oregon, Washington. And I'm lucky enough to be able to walk in and smoke cigars with those guys. And, I've worked for a ton of companies. And I've worked from the smallest boutique. Like right now I have Black Label Trading, and I've got Regis, but I've also worked with Rocky. I've worked at General Cigar. Now I have Espinosa, Illusion, AJ Fernandez, Black Label Trading, and Regis, along with my own brands. So I've been able to see, how companies operate from the small to the biggest big, and it's helped me because, if you launch, you pay attention, you learn, you take best practices, and every company is, an opportunity to learn something because everybody does it differently. And that's kind of how it's helped me stay active on the road and hone my craft, if you will, because, everybody does it a little differently, and you learn from all that. So
that's actually an excellent segue into my next question.
are you guys still there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
You froze for a second, so.
Okay. That's actually an excellent segue into my next question.
Okay.
How are you able to translate your experiences and successes as a rep into Pier 28?
So, let me put it this way. At General Cigar, it's the best analogy I can give you is like it's working, for Anheuser-Busch and Macanudos Budweiser. You're working for the biggest, baddest, animal on the block, and they treat you well, but, you're all about pounding numbers. What I had realized, and again, it's good experience, but I wanted, when I started, I really knew that you learned over the course of time that, the only way to really succeed in this business is to have your name on the mantle, right? Rocky Patel, right? Oliva, Padrones, once you put the name on the cigar, then you're able to call the shots. So that's really what I want to do. And, when I got into the cigar business, I'm also, a cigar nerd at heart. I wasn't somebody that came in just for a job. I loved everything about it. I learned, I wanted to learn the different varietals of leaf. I wanted to go out there. And I knew pretty early that at one point I would love to have the opportunity to do my own brand. So what it's taught me a couple of things that I learned from the manufacturers, the different tobaccos, how to blend, the processes in creating a cigar. What helped me being a rep on the road was learning what retailers need, because making the cigar is actually the easiest part of the job. The hardest part is actually selling the cigar, right? Because, there's so many cigars out there. If you as a retailer have a limited budget, what are you going to choose? Why do you support certain brands? What do you like in a cigar? So before I went through this process, I went to every one of my shops and asked them, how am I going to succeed with you? What do you want to see out of a cigar line besides a good cigar that will help the cigar, get the, penetration, people try it. And, it was universal. It's like, give us an easy way to sell it. 10 count boxes, make the prices reasonable, take little shelf space as possible because, you've got so much stuff in there. So I took all those things into considerations. If you've seen my packaging, the 10 count boxes are very small. It's like a cabinet. Prices are all under $10 before tobacco tax. And I think you get a good value for that cigar, because the blending, my partner in all this is Espinosa. My cigars are made in the Lizona factory in Esteli, Nicaragua. And him and I work together. He's the exact same story that I was. He was a rep for Drew Estate and for Rocky. That's where we worked together there. He launched 601 many years ago. And he even knew, he was like, when you are ready to launch your brand, come talk to me because I'm putting this factory together. I know what you want to do. And you and I are of like mind. And that was really kind of, when I started that thinking this is the time to make that leap, we went back to talking about it, and it made me feel absolutely comfortable. The biggest thing is trust, right? Because when you go to a factory and you put something together, you want to make sure that at the end, when they make those cigars, it's what you contracted to make. And I have absolute trust with those guys. I love working with his team. Hector Alfonso's our master blender, so he helps me along with my blends. I know a little bit, he knows a little bit more, and together, we always put together some pretty good blends. And I'm very proud of the work that we put together. And the most important thing is, at the end, when they put the cigars together, it's exactly what we wanted. We put together, because the factories, you never know what goes on. So, when you have the proper control of the tobacco and control of the people you're working with, you get exactly what you want. That's all you can ask for.
So everyone's palate is different. Everyone's palate is unique, right?
Correct. Yep.
For you, what separates Pier 28 from other boutique cigars? So,
the company's been around for about 5 years now. We started 2015. The first cigar hit the market in 2016. And, as a blending philosophy, right, the first cigar that you make is pretty much everything you love in a cigar. You want to present what your palate likes, and then you grow from there. Obviously, you continue to create lines after that and blends. But for me, I love a medium-bodied cigar that's full-flavored and complex. So I really like a sweet cigar, naturally sweet cigar. So that's what I took into the first blend. My Habano, which was the first blend, has 4 different countries in it. you know, like Espinosa generally is a two-country kind of blend. It's Nicaraguan fillers and then whatever the wrapper is. And that's a lot of companies, but I wanted to give it a little bit different. So, you know, there's a little Dominican in there as well as a Mexican binder. But I presented a cigar. The concept was to kind of hit it right down the middle, right? It's medium bodied, it's full flavored. It's got enough flavor that a full body, a full strength guy can come down to it, but it's not so harsh that a mild guy can't come up to it. You know, that you want to hit the broadest market as possible. So that's what the blend was. It's something that I love, but it also thought that it could present itself to a large segment of cigar smokers. And then you specialize from there, right? You think about the full body guys. So that's when you go to Maduro. And then you think about the mild guys. I have a Connecticut, right? So you try and create your spin on, you know, I equate it to like, you know, you've seen those new classic cars, the new Camaros, the new Corvettes, right? You take a classic blend, something that's been tried and true for hundreds of years, and as a blender, you put your spin on it, right? That's all you can do. So that's what I try and present. This is how I would like Connecticut. This is how I would like Maduro, and hopefully you guys will enjoy it as well.
Okay. So I heard you say that the binder is Mexican. What about the wrapper and the filler?
So the Habano we put together, as I said, 4 countries. If you create a Nicaraguan blend, there's basically 4 kind of regions, not kind of 4 regions where tobacco is grown. And generally, I don't know if you guys are cooks or all, but if you make you cook French cooking, the basic sauce is, you start with what they call mirepoix, right? Celery, carrots, onion, you saute it. That's the base for everything. Same thing with a Nicaraguan cigar. You have to have, Condiega, Esteli, and Jalapa. Esteli, that region tends to provide the strength. Condiega for combustion, Jalapa for flavor. So that's the base of the blend. There's also a Dominican leaf in there as well, kind of give it a different flavor. Then the Mexican binder, and then the Ecuador Habano wrapper. So what ties it all together is all of those tobaccos, other than the Esteli, is sweet. They have a high sugar content. And when you retrohale especially, you can get that sweetness.
Give me 1 second, Tim.
No problem.
Sorry about that. That was one of our members who lives across the street.
No worries. Coming over for a visit, huh?
He came over here to give me shit, but it's
nice.
Okay.
I'm sitting in a cigar store with 2 other reps here. They're doing an event, so I'm catching the flag on the side too. So I get it.
I got you. So tell me about Pier28. Where did the name come from?
Yeah. So when I was developing the concept for the brand, I actually wanted something very traditional. I went through the Spanish to English dictionary, and pretty much all the good names are already trademarked, and all the rest of them are unpronounceable to most people, right? We have enough problems saying tatuaje or waiwense, sobremesa. So I went back to the drawing board, and I'm like, what can I do with a brand? I want to tell my story. So I'm a San Francisco kid, born and raised. I mean, that's home for me. And if you've ever been to that city, there's the Embarcadero, as they call it, where the waterfront is. There's actually a pier system. There are 60 different piers, and each one has a different facade and a different look to it. I live 6 blocks from Pier 28. What's unique about that particular pier is the Bay Bridge goes over it. So literally when I drove under the bridge and by Pier 28, I knew I was home coming off the road. So it's a sentimental thing for me. And it also has bits of my story. So, being Chinese American, we're superstitious and numerologists. The number 28 is a lucky number. So if you've ever seen a license plate that has a number 8 in it, that number is lucky because it rhymes with the character for, fortune. So to prosperity, actually. So the number 2 and the number 8 together means to prosper easily, right? If you look at the band, I don't have one here, I apologize, but the band actually has the span of the bridge is represented on it. The band itself is die cut to match the facade of the building. And the other touch I put in is I used the color schemes of Bay Area sports teams. So the Habano's blue and gold for the Warriors, the Maduro's silver and black for the Raiders, the Oscuro black and orange for the Giants, and then the newest one was Connecticut. It was white and teal for the San Jose Sharks. So, I try to tie everything that are elements of who I am into that brand and into the packaging.
That's good to know, man. So, let's talk about distribution, because our members
I missed that.
Distribution.
Okay.
Our members are buyers and connoisseurs of boutique cigars.
Okay. Yeah, I think you guys heard about me through the Stogie Bird, right?
No, actually, I've Yami, the guy who's on with us right now, the logo, Yami tagged me in a post for one of your cigars.
Yep.
And then I did my homework on you guys, and I was like, yeah, I like this. I want to have this guy on and see if we can talk.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much. So
go
ahead.
Tell me where we can find your cigars, man.
Sure. So you guys, I mean, you guys are on the East Coast time zone. So where are you? Are you all around, or mostly East Coast, or?
No, we're literally all over the country. I'm in Delaware. We got folks in Florida. We got.
So there's several places you can do it. The biggest online vendor of my cigars is a site called Small Batch Cigar, which specializes in boutiques. They're actually, I live in Orange County these days. They're in my backyard. They've been my customer for a long time, so they've been a big supporter. They usually have it in stock. If you want to support local brick and mortar, there's a couple of great East Coast shops that specialize in it as well. One of them is called Caravan Cigar Company. They have a pretty good presence on social media. The Royal Leaf in New Jersey, they're big supporters and friends of mine as well. I just recently cut a deal with Famous. I don't know if it's up yet, but in the next week or two, you'll be able to buy it from Famous Cigar as well. So famoussmoke.com. That's my first major online vendor. It's a pretty big deal for me to kind of make that leap forward because, you know, I produce a very small amount of cigars to support those guys. They need cigars. So hopefully it'll be a great partnership, but it's available there as well.
I have built an affiliate business around Famous Cigars. So when they release your cigar, I will drop, I will feature your cigar on my website, 520.com.
Dude, send me a link. I appreciate it. I'll put it up on and I'll share with my fans on my social media pages too. That'd be great.
Yeah, man. We'll take care of that. So I want to open the floor up to our members. We've had a few coming up, but it looks like we're you guys have any questions from Tim of Pier28 Cigars?
Yeah, and you can ask me anything. I'm a cigar smoker at heart too. Any brands, I love talking cigars, so there's no question that's taboo for me. Ask me anything.
I'd be curious, out of your brand, what's your favorite stick that you like?
So
and then maybe also outside of your brand, what do you like?
Okay, so they say you never forget your first. The Habano to me will always be my favorite because that's the first thing I had to market. This is the culmination of my personal dream. And I'll tell you a great story. I was mentioning a man named Hector Alfonso, who's the master blender at Espinosa. When I started the process with him, Eric's like, work with Hector. He'll give you anything you want. And so, we were in Miami, and he's got, we've got a blender there. We've got leaves. He's got a library of things to work on. I didn't want to buy what we would call an off-the-rack blend, where they put up, 5 or 6 blends on a tray, pick one. So we started working. I gave him a concept, and he pulled a few things, and I said, well, we need this, we need this. We went through in 48 hours almost 18 different versions of the cigar, and when we hit it, we just smoked that. We looked at each other and go, "This is it, right?" So. We went to Eric. Eric smoked it, and he goes, "I made this," and we're like, "No, you did not." And he goes, "If you don't put this on the marketplace, I will." And that turned out to be a great story. But I asked, when I get to know Hector a little bit better, started working with Espinosa. His nickname is Mr. Warmth, and he's got this attitude. He's just surly. And I asked him, I was like, "Why did you sit there and let me do this for 8 hours?" He was very patient. He goes, "Well, I won't lie to you. There were times in this process where I wanted to punch you in the face. You're the pickiest MF I've ever seen in my life." But Eric Espinosa wanted to work with me as a rep. So he's like, he had told me to give you what you wanted. And so we did. But I won't never do that again. Next time, we're cutting to the chase a lot faster, which we do. We become better partners, and we work much quicker with the concept. So that's why I love that. I mean, the process, everything that came to market, that's why I love that. And the actual product itself, all of the combination of the story. I love that. I have a Nicaraguan palate. I rarely smoke a lot of Dominican cigars. And it's been my favorite for a long time. It's been Padron. I mean, if you ask me that question, whether you're a retailer or consumer, I'll tell you, Padron has been my favorite. 64 Torpedo Maduro. I'm blessed enough to be able to smoke it every day, but I don't because it's a special occasion cigar for me. So I want to keep it that way. I smoke it when there's a reason to smoke it. I do get a chance to smoke a handful of Cubans. I love Ramon Allones. I'll take that over Cohiba or Monte Cristo. I think those smaller brands are actually better cigars, and nobody's counterfeiting Ramon Allones. Nobody's counterfeiting, Upman or San Cristobal. So I'd rather smoke those smaller brands. That you get a better cigar, and it's less expensive, and nobody's counterfeiting that stuff. So. But those are my favorite cigars. But anything Nicaraguan, my class. I mean, like I said, I like medium bodied, full flavored. So I smoke a lot of Sobremesa, the Huayhuense, Herrera Esteli. Those are the kind of cigars that I like in that class.
Yeah, I love Herrera Esteli. I had a chance to.
Willie's a great guy. Support Willie.
Yeah, I had a chance to visit their factory when I was in Miami. It was great, man. It was great. It's a really small shop too, man. They
Oh yeah, Teton de Bronze Day is a very fun place to visit.
Yeah,
and you're in Cayocho. There's a ton of things going on over there.
Exactly, man. And they took me around. They gave me a tour of their operation, man. I met the rollers. I met Willie's wife, and bought a couple couple cigars out of there, man. It was great.
And Domino Park's right there, and all that kind of stuff. It's a fun place to visit.
Yeah, man. A lot of good food, man. God, yeah. A lot of good food. Anyone else with questions for Tim or Pier28?
Hey, so since the Raiders are moving to Vegas, are you going to do away with that label, or?
No, actually, what's funny, most of the support for the Raiders is going to come from California. All the season ticket holders are coming from Los Angeles. There are more Raiders fans in LA than there are in Oakland. So I already have a shop. When I first presented that to them, I don't know if you guys been to Vegas, but there's a shop called En Fuego. And they're like, we want this cigar. That's going to be our kickoff event when the Raiders open their season. So
nice.
I have an event with you guys, with that cigar because they love the color scheme for it. So, and then the one I haven't used yet, I'm a Niner. I mean, like I said, being San Francisco, I'm actually a Niners and a Giants fan, but I'm saving the red and gold for something special. Like I've never done a limited edition yet. When I do, that's when I'm going to incorporate that color scheme.
Okay.
Yeah. Nice. This may be a little selfish, man, but I am a Padres fan because I lived in San Diego for a couple.
Have you been to Petco?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, outside of AT&T, that's my favorite stadium in the West Coast. It's beautiful.
Man.
Absolutely beautiful.
It is gorgeous.
And I'm a baseball fan. I mean, the first sporting event I went to, my dad took me to a Giants game at Candlestick, so I absolutely love going to baseball games.
Yeah, man. A lot of people don't like baseball. I don't know why, man, but
it's like hockey. You got to watch it live. TV just kills it. It's just a slow game.
Right.
But being there and watching everything, hearing the sounds of the park, and grabbing the dog and the nachos and just being there, it's much more fun.
Yeah, man. I was fortunate to be there when the Padres weren't such a good team.
Yeah.
And the company that I worked for used to give me option to buy tickets. And so I was buying tickets behind home plate for $65 a day.
Oh, no doubt. It's my favorite place in Southern California to watch the Giants play. Because I get to see them in, Dodger Stadium. They play the Angels occasionally. I've seen them in Anaheim Stadium. But San Diego, it feels like a home game. There are no Padres fans.
Right.
So you go there, it's all Giants fans. It feels like a home game.
I don't know, man. After they picked up Manny Machado, you're starting to see a few more people come out saying they like
Well, they built their farm system. It looks like a good team. They just haven't put it all together yet. I mean,
right.
It looks like they've got great prospects. They've got good pitching. It just hasn't come together. I don't know why. I don't understand,
I think it'll take a little while, man, because they came from nothing.
Well, and the other thing is you're playing in one of the toughest divisions in baseball. I mean, You've got the Dodgers, the Rockies, and the Diamondbacks. Those are three tough teams, you know? Yeah. You can beat up on the Giants all you want. They're terrible right now, but, We're paying the credit card bill for the 3 championships right now.
Yeah. So what are you smoking, Tim?
This is the Corona Gorda, Pier28. That's my favorite size. I'm a 46 ring gauge guy.
I was just telling somebody the other day, I'm done with big ring gauge cigars.
Yeah. The basic reason is very simple. The wrapper is the prettiest and provides a decent amount of flavor to the cigar. And the smaller ring gauges, the ratio of binder filler to wrapper is greater. So you really get a chance to taste the wrapper, and that I think is a bonus. It also kind of smaller ring gauges. When we all first time, tell me if you guys had this issue, but I smoke like a chimney fast. I could smoke a Robusto in 25 to 30 minutes, and I was like, why are these things so bad towards the end? And somebody had to tell me, hey, idiot, slow down. So a smaller ring gauge cigar forces you to, like, especially Lanceros. You got to smoke them slowly, and you get more enjoyment out of it when you smoke it slowly. So, those are things you learn early part of your cigar smoking experience.
Yeah.
So, but if you look at my cigars, actually the 4 different blends that I have, the size, there's only 4 sizes in each line. And I did that for a reason. I didn't want to, like there's some lines that come out with 6, 8, 12 sizes initially, and it confuses, the retailer and the consumers. I mean, which one smokes the best? So I try to keep it simple. There's basically 4 categories. I make a small ring gauge cigar. That's for me. I expect never to sell any of those, but yet they always end up being the best-selling sizes. So there's Coronas, Petite Coronas, Lonsdales. The only consistent size across the 4 blends is the Robusto. Every size has a 5x52 because that's the best-selling size. Then there's a Toro variant, and then the 4th size is always what I call fun size, something that is different. So one of them has a box-pressed 54 ring gauge. One of them has a Perfecto. The only shaped cigar I do, the Oscuro, has a Perfecto. There's a short Churchill, which is very similar to kind of an Escondido size. So the fun sizes that you may not see that much. That's the 4th size. And so, I try to match the sizes to the blend because I don't want to have, 16 sizes per blend. So those 4 sizes, I think, match the blend the best. That's part of the concept as well.
Cool. So tell us where we can find Pier28 online and where we can find you.
Yeah. So obviously, like I said, smallbatchcigar.com. They specialize in that stuff. If you like anything boutique, you'll be able to find it there. And they got a lot of custom stuff. I don't know if Pravada is doing their website yet, but they are. Pravada's got Pravada Cigar Club has a lot of my stuff as well. They have some custom sizes. Famous Smoke is sometime in the next 2 weeks as well for the larger. Those 3 are probably going to be your best shot at getting it online.
And what about your social media? Where can we follow?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. So it's there's an Instagram and Facebook at Pier28 Cigars. You can contact direct with me. I'm at Tim Wong Cigars. Both same thing, Facebook and Instagram. Interact with me there. You can. That's how you pick me up on Instagram. Both those. I'm very active. If you get a reply, it's from me. I handle both accounts. So I do the messaging and whatnot. Just hit me up on either one of those 2.
Sounds good, man. You may want to consider coming over to Twitter because we all know each other from Twitter.
I have it. There's no content on it yet. That's the one that I haven't.
Yeah.
But it's at Pier28 Cigars as well. So I do have a Twitter page. There's just no content on it yet. I haven't populated. That's been the one I've been a little lax on because, Facebook and Instagram is just what most people are at right now. So Twitter seems to be a little less populated. So I kind of ignored that one, but I will definitely work on it. Since I'm a one-man show, there's only so many things I can do during the day.
I got you.
I still got my day job too. So.
Got you, man. I got you. Ladies and gentlemen, Tim Wong, Pier28 Cigars. Tim, thank you.
I appreciate you guys for having me on. Anytime you want to invite me back, please let me know. I'll be more than happy to join you.
You can count on it. Let me stop.
Great.
Okay.